waiting on fries. You don't get it? What do you mean you don't get waiting on fries?
Hopefully the customer never hears waiting on fries, but all this time on the entree and it's perfectly executed and then you're like,
ready
fuck,
to go.
I forgot to fire the fries.
I just always use that when I forgot to put somebody's order in, and I was like, hey, I'm just waiting on the fries. It's gonna be 2 more minutes. Realistically, I'd come back 10 minutes with the food.
That's just. I was like, take us into the show, and everyone just stared at each other.
You just
for a
pressed
brief
record. I wasn't ready.
There was no sort of like warm up for that. You're like, take us in.
We were talking. We were having a good conversation. You're like, take it in, press record. I was like, well, who are you talking about?
I mean, listen, I got one job to do, and it was press record.
But you know what? If you were a member of our Patreon account, you would have had the inside scoop of that because you would feel like you were right here with us before we press record.
This is true. You join the Patreon, become a member, and you join the team.
Patreon.com/waitingonfries.
Fries.
I love that.
I can't stand it.
Our natural echo.
it's
We
so
were
annoying.
designed to be DJs, bro.
So it feels like we've been gone for a while. Technically, we haven't because we recorded last week.
Yeah.
Someone dropped the ball.
Someone dropped the ball hard.
We recorded. You didn't hear it because Jay lost the episode.
You know,
It's the first time for everything, right?
we had discussions that there was going to be an episode at some point that would be lost, and we just hoped that there wouldn't be a guest on it, and it would just be us, because that's the worst,
So luckily, it was just us.
fortunately. But you missed all the conversations that we had about modifications, so we'll
They were good
swing that back.
conversations.
We'll swing that back in a little bit.
Shout out to Vinny Brusco.
Shout out to Vinny
Is,
Brusco.
you know,
This has happened before.
We did
Yeah.
it. We did an episode with Vinny Brusco that nobody heard because he lost it, and now Jay, what's now known in the podcast community as a Vinny Brusco. Jay pulled.
Oh, Vinny. No, so, you know, here we are. We're in midsummer. Everything's thriving. I've been walking around in the city seeing, like, people walking everywhere, sitting outside in restaurants everywhere, sitting in these little vestibules that they've made on the streets, taking over street parking, and they're filled with people. Like, it's uncomfortable because I'm, like, in the antisocial social team.
I thought you were all about sardine packing and, like,
Yeah.
just
You
fitting
were
as
a
many
sardine.
people in
Let's
as possible.
pack it like sardines, make some
Sardine
money.
can it.
Make
So,
money, volume.
I'm totally with that.
But no, now you're saying you're uncomfortable
Yeah.
walking down the street because there's too many people?
Too many people.
When I'm on the other
So
side
you
of
only
the
want
bar,
sardines in the bar, but not in the world.
He's only
kind
for
of.
sardines when it makes him money.
well, no, when you've got
Somebody
like
else is
the
making
bar,
money.
when you have the bar protection of having like a 5-foot distance from everybody because of the bar.
Oh, so you want to watch the sardines.
I wanna watch
but
the
you don't want to
sardine
be
bag.
in the
It
can.
would be a
So
private
he's about
sardine.
opening sardine cans, but not necessarily being in the can himself.
Gotcha.
I open the cans and then I just sit there and watch them for a little bit to see what happens. You know, so I mean, walking around, we're seeing that everything is so packed and everything is so full.
Yeah.
And just think, guys, as we sit here in New Rochelle Smokehouse version 1.2.
About 2.0?
2.0.
Yeah.
Oh, it's New Rochelle.
Yeah,
well,
because it was like 1, and then Mamaroneck was like 1.5.
Yeah.
So now we could be like on
And this
2.
is brand new from the
Brand
ground
new.
up. This is
Yeah.
2.0.
2.0.
yeah. So whatever. We're sitting here in this.
Not whatever.
empty-
You were wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong.
You're right. I was wrong.
Like, yeah, you're right. Makes
So
more
we're-
sense to say 2.0.
We're sitting here. It's it's empty. It's echoing a little bit because we're still filling the room. There's TVs now on all these different walls.
We poured our first beer today.
There you go.
There was beers all over the place. I was thinking
And
about
there's
drinking
also a
one
story
earlier.
behind that first beer pour because it almost didn't happen. You know?
Why did it?
Because it wasn't working the other day.
Oh, yeah, because the walk-in wasn't working. And so we had to fix that.
You had to
I mean, it
fix
was
the
gonna-
brand new walk-in
Yeah,
that
the
you
brand
just
new
installed.
walk-in. We've never done anything in the walk-in. Turn it
Except turn it on.
Didn't work, and we're already repairing it.
Yeah.
So that brings up like this valid point. There's so many pieces of this place.
Same thing that happened with the exhaust, by the way.
Yeah.
Brand new exhaust.
Turned it
went to
on.
go cook. Didn't work.
So
Had to
hold
do
on.
it.
Like I want to hear these stories, but also
That was it.
there's a lot of things to
fixed
kind of check off on the board when you're getting things going and operational and making sure that everything works. And like, this is a pretty big facility.
I think there's also, more importantly than there's a lot of things to check off, there's a lot of things that you will encounter that you didn't expect to encounter. A lot of things that you'll end up checking off that you didn't think would be an issue at all. Like
correct. I mean, I
fixing
remember
brand new
when you were
appliances.
opening up Mamaroneck, you had the huge whiteboard set up, and it was just filled with lines of to-do items that were getting crossed out as they were being handled.
Mike's big on the punch list.
Yeah, it was a good list.
Holds everybody accountable. I like them.
Yeah, I very much respect the list when I saw it. I said, these guys have their shit together. Look at this gigantic list of like 137 items that was listed on this board, and every time I would come in, there'd be
be
like
more
a few
checks.
less,
Yeah.
or like a line crossing it out or something. I didn't see one of those here, which is
was
probably
gonna say-
why we had some problems.
We
huh?
got it on
surprised
the,
there's
we
no
got it on the
whiteboard.
drive. It's on a drive now.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so anybody could
Technology.
access it. So this space being as big as it is, there's a lot of moving pieces and mechanics to it. Like literally. There's garage doors behind us that are now finally fully installed to create a separation barrier between what could be a
What is
party
the
room.
PDR, the private dining room?
Yep, sure. And also when it's a busy
PDR.
night.
I like that. PDR. That's how I'm going to refer to it from now on.
That's like that Make It Nice thing that you thought you created. There's
I-
a whole
hold
world
on.
out there that you
I did create
No,
Make
you
It
didn't.
Nice. I invented that.
No, you didn't.
The PDR, sponsored by PBR.
None of those 3 words even existed.
Literally.
The word make it or nice. I
You
made
created-
all
yeah,
3 of those
okay.
and put it together.
You continue thinking of that, just like PDR. You created that one too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you did. I'm just liking it.
okay.
You said it first.
You
I
guys
just
having
liked
it?
it.
You guys having an inside joke right now?
No.
No, we're saying it right now on live.
Yeah,
It's
and
everybody.
it's not
Everybody's
inside.
here.
It was out on the internet on
Yeah.
Instagram.
And
Justin thought that Make It Nice was his thing.
Yeah.
Some other company used Make It Nice in their thing.
Any other restaurant industry worker for the
It's not
entirety of time.
It's not an inside joke because we're literally just making it up right now. So everybody listening is in on it,
yeah.
I'm just helping anybody understand things because a lot of words fly.
and they get to be even more in on it if they were in on a Patreon account because then they'd be in a
sitting
group.
right here, right
They'd be in a
next to
group chat with us.
Exactly. We should make a Patreon group chat. That's a good idea.
Right? We just make a group. Put all the Patreon people in a group chat. They can just
honestly,
talk with us
guys.
all the time.
Honestly, guys, whatever makes you the happiest. Okay, that's where we're at today.
That's what we're doing.
tell me-
Patreon.com group chat with the 3 of us.
Tell me,
Jay gets a little hostile sometimes.
Sometimes.
Just so you know.
tell me what I walked into today with the problem with the beer.
So, I mean, I can't fully explain it, but I can tell you what I walked in on. I walked in on Mike talking to the draft line install team about how there was some sort of nut or bolt caught in one of the
Oh
lines.
yeah. There was like a ball. We don't know. Foreign object that
Foreign object.
that got into the coolant pipe for the walk-in. Somehow, somebody working dropped it in there, or something, and we were trying to figure out where it came from.
So it was
But
causing a clog, and you couldn't get any coolant. to
couldn't
the-
get any coolant to the walk-in.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to figure it out for 2 weeks why this thing hasn't been working. Placed a couple of parts, and then finally we cut a pipe.
Call the fridge guys.
Well, they've been the ones working on it.
Okay.
And they cut the pipe and found the thing in the pipe.
So now, who is the responsible party
Who's on
for
the hook
this?
for this?
That is the question.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's
how do you
us
track
right
this
now.
down?
Literally, it's
Well,
just you guys.
It's just us, right? Because there's no proof.
So, here you're screwed and just have to
Could
hit
have
this
came from the
invoice.
manufacturer. Who knows when that got in there?
All right.
We thought it was, a part from the beer system. So when that happened, we thought, oh, we can blame it on the beer guy, but it wasn't. It wasn't a beer system.
They're like,
part,
this
so
isn't ours.
we can't blame it on him.
So, I don't even think there's a way to prevent anything
The
like
phone
this.
still rings. We're in another restaurant. We're not even in the other restaurant, and the phone's still ringing.
This isn't an established
This is
business
great.
yet.
So, how do you you just can't prevent this from happening?
I mean, you got to accept shit happens
It's not like
sometimes.
preventing or not preventing. Like it may have not happened, right? Or it may happen just shit out of luck that there happened to be something in our pipe.
So that was it.
Yeah,
Done.
That's it.
All right.
There's
and
a
now-
bill attached to that now for the brand new equipment that they just bought and
Yeah.
installed.
But now the beautiful brand new draft line, beautifully brand new, works again,
Yeah.
and the beer is flowing and tastes great.
There it
Flowing
is.
like
And
the
then-
salmon of Capistrano.
And then to fill it in even better is you sent across a photo of the beautiful tap handle that was made.
Oh yeah, our boy Josh from Hopwood Handles.
Like this
Custom-
Let me explain this to them, right? It is
You can try,
super,
but I don't think you can do it justice.
It's a custom.
I'll post it on the.
It's
on
a
the
custom tap
page.
handle.
Yep.
And it's like matte black all over,
Yep.
and then has the beautiful little yellow smokehouse logo.
Laser engraved.
It's laser engraved.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's like sort of off center on the bottom too. It's not like taking up the whole thing, so you have a nice flat
Correct.
black tap handle. It's very nice.
So then,
So sexy.
how many of these tap handles are going to exist?
Well, there's 16 here and 16 in Mamaroneck.
So every single tap handle will be that handle.
Yep.
and
Cool.
is it confirmed the chalkboard paint surface, so you can just write
Yep.
on it? Yeah.
So we can mark whatever it's.
Are you gonna actually write the full name of the beer? Or are you just gonna number them, or are you gonna leave them?
No,
blank?
we'll write the name on the beer.
Write
yeah.
the name of the beer.
Are you going to put them on the fronts? Sorry, the tap is actually not in front of the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. So all you have to do is label it on one side, and everyone sees it. It looks
Yep.
beautiful, clean, and uniform to keep some type of structure going.
So are you gonna be the one writing the labels for
Yeah.
both restaurants?
Handwriting matters.
Handwriting definitely matter. You
Until
Got
we
it.
can find someone else that can write.
should look into stencils, so you can just put them on there. You know,
Yeah.
I want to make my handwriting a
Stencil.
font, and then load it into the computer.
you can do that.
You can do that.
Relatively easy.
Is
on
that
Photoshop.
arrogant of myself?
No, we'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah.
I
you
want
could,
it to be my handwriting all the
you
time.
could definitely do that. You would have to just highlight every single letter
He just has to draw out the alphabet. So
Yep.
We'll talk afterwards. It's not that important.
Yeah.
Right now, but we can,
Well, it is kind of important. It's fun. Like,
Okay,
say
so
you
then-
have a really great handwriting.
It's branding, right? So mine.
Yeah.
It is branding.
Yeah.
So I used to do that when I was taking pictures. I would put my signature in the bottom of the picture as like my stamp on the picture. So to do that, you write out whatever you want, and then you go into Photoshop, select it, and then I think it's edit and then make custom layer, and then that custom layer can be applied and used as a brush. So if you select each individual letter, then there you go. And you print them out big enough, and then you can cut out the inside, and then you have a stencil of your letter.
Yeah, that
And
works
you can
like
use
that.
that as like a Word document too.
But no,
Like,
what
type
you
of it?
want to do
No,
then.
it'll be an image file.
Oh,
But what you want to do then is extract that letter specifically
Print it
and
out.
put it into fonts. That way you could just type your fonts out.
that'd be cool.
And then you have to have that font on the computer, which is like, it's totally doable. It's totally fine. So if anybody out there has super sexy handwriting
There you
and
go.
you've been wanting to create your own font, it's not
Slide into the
too
DMs. We'll
tough.
create a make a font tutorial.
Yeah, it's not too tough, but it is a little time consuming.
We'll have that available on our Patreon. So if you're
There we
interested,
go.
become
I'm
a
doing
member.
it all.
Yeah, sure. We
Anyway,
talked.
they're sexy. They're sexy as tap handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're very. And plus, 4 of those taps are going to be dedicated to Corn and Keg cocktails.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
The 4 most sold cocktails.
Well, 3 cocktails and 1 sangria.
Beautiful.
Cool. And this speeds things up, especially where there's a ton of volume that's going to happen in here, being
Yeah.
right next to Iona College,
Heck yeah.
on a busy strip that is building up even more and more as time goes on.
Smoke shows all over the place.
And furthermore, let's
I
talk
see what you
about-
did there.
You like that?
That's a cocktail on his list, but then he also, you know. So now coming into new build out and new designs anyway, now there's new laws that you actually have to adapt to that you didn't have to do beforehand, because previously you didn't have to have a low part of the bar to be handicap accessible.
we did not.
ADA compliant is what you're looking for.
That's the word?
Yeah.
Cool. You talk the tech terms, and I'm just going to talk to the people.
Let's go.
So now at the front of this bar that we've just designed here,
Yeah.
now there's this little low boy area.
Yep.
What is it?
ADA compliant.
That.
Yeah.
So this little low boy area here,
So that if someone in a wheelchair wanted to sit at the bar, they are not.
able to do it.
Yep.
And now,
Correct.
but what we will do though to kind
I
of
was super upset about it when I found out we had to do it, but in hindsight and looking at it, I think it kind of looks a little cool.
It's
I-
nice. I like that seat at a
Yeah.
bar now.
well, because now what
Unless
you
somebody else
focused
needs it.
on to double up the usage of it though too is have that be the service area.
Right. Well, you can use it. I mean, it still has to be accessible for
Oh yeah, no,
like some
totally
nice people to sit there. You can't
correct.
just like
but it
ignore
will be a service area
Yeah,
where
so we
people
moved
can
the
come get
service.
the drinks.
Yeah, we moved the service into the front of the bar, like kind of right in the middle of the restaurant, so everybody will see everything happening,
Yeah.
and making drinks and hearing the.
There's a place by the name of Saltaire in
we got that big ice too.
Portchester,
One and a quarter
and
cubes.
Saltaire has a shucking station right in the middle of the bar.
Those are so sexy, but you got to make sure they're always like stocked and full because
Yeah.
there's nothing worse than
Correct.
like a
empty ice.
empty
depleted
shucking station.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh, like
You
no
know?
ice in it even.
yeah, like if you're gonna have a bar that has that on it, it has to be
perfect.
stocked full ice and look nice. Because if you set a like that's the whole point is like make it look like something going on. But if it's like empty, you're like, oh, today's a suck day, huh?
Dreary.
Like, it's not today's not good enough for that.
Yeah, no,
You
correct.
know?
And you also have to have a qualified person working that station because shucking oysters to order isn't easy.
No, it's
Not easy.
So it's not like it's the bartender doing it. It is whoever the
definitely
shucker.
You would not want your bartender like making drinks and shucking oysters.
Correct. So the guy that's
You
shucking,
shouldn't have enough time to do both.
Correct. So the guy that's shucking in there,
If you do, you
is-
shouldn't have the oysters.
he's a piece of that environment creating movement, so that way you're not sitting at a plain empty bar where
Exactly.
there's just nobody there. Like
Exactly.
you're seeing action happen, so you always feel like you're fulfilled internally when you're sitting there.
Yeah. And you also don't want to watch somebody stab themselves in the hand repeatedly to
Yeah.
give you a snack.
I mean, I could watch the stabbings of the hands.
Maybe
with
once,
that.
but not twice or 3 times. That's too much.
Yeah, so this is good. I think that the way that this has been built out, and I think that the way that you had a lot of control over being able to build out a brand new establishment really let you grasp control of not having pre-existing
Limitations.
limitations from somebody else's idea. Obviously, that's more costly. Obviously, it has a lot more headache to it because of all the different scenarios that you have to go through for permitting. We just talked to Mike in the kitchen about what was that piece
so it's
on
about, in a new construction, all the stuff has to be up to fire code, which now seems like it includes having the Ansel system pointed directly at the source of the flame. So for a stovetop, that means the Ansel system comes underneath the shelf that sits atop the stove, and it has nozzles pointed right down. But that also means that it's connected to the stove. So you think about you trying to move the stove to clean behind it or under it. Now you have to disconnect the Ansel system with like a wrench or something like that. Move the stove, then reconnect it back. It's an
If
extra
you're
hassle.
like me, what he's referring to is the shit that sprays if fire happens
Right.
and goes down on the fire. You know what I mean?
Right. That's called an Ansel system.
I'm just
No,
dumbing
I know.
it.
I'm
just dumbing it
reconfirming.
down.
No, I understood. I'm reconfirming the words.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it makes sense for the way they have it set up, but it's just weird to see that stuff attached to the piece of equipment. You'd want to be able to move freely just so you can clean around it, and you can't do that. And so on top of that, also, Mike had installed wheels on the bottom of all the equipment to make it easier to move. But according to the fire department or whatever it was, the fire suppression people, they said that they have to have like locks for the wheels to go into so the equipment can't move. But the point of having the wheels is so it can move. So now he has to drill these things into the floor. The wheels lock into place so that they're always in line with the fire suppression.
So
system.
it's the point was that if you take it out to clean, they have to go exactly where they were.
Yeah,
So,
so it stays
that
in line
everything's
with the
lined up.
system.
So they call them cups. They're like basically guides to where when you roll stuff back in it so that it sits in the same spot.
It's almost like a C if you look at it for the wheel to go into the
Yes,
C.
yeah.
But
so
it-
it doesn't lock
It's just-
necessarily.
it's literally, it's not.
It locks. It doesn't let it go left to right.
Correct.
It
Yeah,
just slides
but
it.
it's still drilling something in the floor.
Yeah,
so
drilling
that you
something
can put
into the
your
floor.
stove back.
Then you
in
can't
place.
really mop around. It makes a little bit whatever. Our argument was that like look at the kitchen. It's exactly the size
size
for
and
everything
shape.
that's in here. You can't move it around. Like
Where's it
we're
gonna go?
pick it. It's got to go back that way. And they're like, no,
Especially when
gotta-
it's attached to the Ansel system, it's got to go back.
right.
But
But
Now
it's
we-
whatever.
stuff you encounter.
Little things.
Yeah.
We chatted a little bit last week before I ball dropped things
Before you pulled a
about
Vinny Briscoe.
about talking about modifications.
Yeah,
into food.
we're actually when we open, we're not going to allow anybody to modify anything on the menu.
Really?
No,
no.
not really. That's your story.
I was like, yes, you guys are on the team.
So to recap things, fairly bring everybody up to speed here.
There were a lot of people that were for that.
Yeah.
Were like on your side.
I
on
don't
that.
think they really understood.
No. They understood. They
Did
were
you
like-
check all the accounts to make sure that Nooms wasn't voting
No,
on
like,
brand new
like
accounts
pretty much,
repeatedly?
If you were a chef, you voted like
I
for
agree.
this. I'm
Yeah.
for it.
But wait, people don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah.
They will in a second.
Yeah, but you don't start to lead up into the
It's
good
an
part
attention
already.
grabber.
It's a Tarantino effect.
Yeah.
We're rewinding things.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Sure. So what has occurred here is now one of the new restaurants is deciding that it is more beneficial to prevent any single person from making any single modification on any single dish that's ordered. And if you have an allergy or if you have a problem, you can't do anything except for
Order
get
something
a
else.
different dish.
Yep. So the way he makes it sound is, I don't know, a lot more extreme than it is.
No, it's because my
No.
voice goes up and down.
Yeah. So the idea was we're not going to allow any modifications at Townhouse. Reason being, if you're coming here and spending money to eat the food that we make, you should get it the way we make it, not the way that you perhaps think it tastes better. If you like it that way, go cook it at home. We'll tell you how to make it.
We had to leave that gap right there.
Yeah.
I was just like, take that in.
Understand.
But the issue that exists is as
People like to have it their way.
not just that. Like, yeah, you're right, sure, in a lot of different cases, but where we pride hospitality and taking care of people within this industry.
Typically, the answer is
And
always yes.
The answer is always, within most cases, yes, we can figure that out. Yes, we can do that. Being in the melting pot as a kid, the thing was always like, hey, if the hostess has a second and kids are coming in and they say something, all they want is pizza because they don't like the stuff that we have here,
You're going to run out and go get
we're
some
going to
pizza.
run out and go get a slice for them, and that's it. Say no more.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen,
yeah, that's
I
a lot.
understand that mentality, and I understand the benefits of having that mentality. You're always going to have happy guests. But, I mean, I also understand the idea of doing things our way and standing behind doing things our way.
okay. I mean, it's easy to say for the guy that doesn't look at the balance sheet to, like, we're going to do things our way, cool,
sure.
until your paycheck starts stopping
Yeah.
because the business isn't continuing because we
Well,
turned away a lot.
I don't think that would happen.
I'm being drastic, but, you know.
The big. What we really talked about was what my argument was not so much you can't make any modification. I was like, yeah, that's actually fine. Was the not even for like an allergy or something?
Yeah.
that was the stretch for me.
That it's a little harsh. I get it. It's
know?
harsh, and I mean, you're going to upset some people. You're going to make people unhappy. But
Like we like the modification subtraction rule.
Yeah.
Right? Like you
Like,
can
you're
take
allowed to
off
make
whatever,
modifications by
but you
taking
can't
things
add
off.
anything on. Or you can't change the way something's prepped. Like my example with the breakfast burger,
Yep.
which was so eloquently put last week, which I deleted it and lost it. It was such a good
It
analogy.
just disappeared.
But like we have the breakfast burger, simply bacon, egg, and cheese with a fried egg with like a runny yolk. That's supposed
Over
to
easy.
act, over easy. With that's supposed to act as like the sauce for the burger. And if you come in and say, "Well, I want the egg scrambled," then you're kind of defeating.
You just ruined the dish.
You ruin the dish, right? So we'll do it for you because that's the type of restaurant we are, but we'll disagree with it.
Yeah.
But the modification, like the way I could stand behind somebody's doing is saying, if you want to take something off, fine, but you can't change how anything's prepared or add anything to the dish.
Right.
Like
And I get that. That makes sense too. But I mean, if you're gonna do it, just do it all the way. Stand behind it.
I want, and we.
Fucking scallions.
That's what I was going to say. That's the reference we had last week was the scallions. And, like, if you're just using scallions as a garnish on a
But
dish.
so the argument that comes from somebody who spends time cooking is that we're not just using scallions as a garnish. They're meant to be there. They provide something to the dish.
Yeah, color.
No. See,
Color.
that's the thing. That's what you don't understand
right?
because you
Color,
don't spend your
yeah.
time cooking. They provide something to the dish,
Right.
and that something is supposed to be there, whatever it is.
Like the little taste of scallion on the top that gets drizzled at the last moment.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be there.
But
Nobody
these
eats
fucking
it.
chefs on their high horses can't just not drizzle
I
the
know, they can't just
scallion.
can't
It's
do it.
so mind blowing.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing about at like the Dead Rabbit. They finish all their cocktails with nutmeg. Leave out the nutmeg. I don't like nutmeg.
And they'll do it
Yeah, but I mean, like, why do they put it on in the first place?
because it masks sometimes
Oh,
the
okay, well,
sense
the
of egg
scallions-
yolk or
the scallions add
egg
flavor.
whites
The
or
scallions add
whatever
flavor.
it might be.
The scallions add flavor to the chicken.
If you don't want a dehydrated lemon on top of your cocktail, I will leave that shit off. If you prefer
So
a
then why don't you-
dehydrated orange,
why don't
I
you
will
just-
give you the dehydrated orange.
But the point is, if you're so willing to take it off, just don't put it on in the beginning because
Yeah, but it makes it look better.
Correct.
It's
because,
aesthetic.
Because it's an aesthetic. and
why
it's
don't
a
you-
finishing touch.
The
Why don't you-
garnish
like
on a cocktail,
scallions.
like you look at a cocktail, a lot of times you finish it, right?
And the garnish is still there.
If it doesn't have like a foam or something on top of it that makes it look, it just looks like
Oh, I just paid $16
Yeah,
for,
like
just
this-
this color.
colored drink.
So you
you
guys
need
are-
a garnish just for aesthetic purposes, right? Because sometimes you drink with your eyes and you get like a cool, like off color. Like if a blue drink would be benefit by like a yellow, like a nice pineapple or something. You don't need the pineapple; it's already in the drink,
Yeah.
So then don't put the pineapple in.
but it looks better.
Nooms is such a man of function that he can't
I-
even open his mind
If
to
you're
see like
literally
the bigger
saying it
picture.
does nothing but make the cup look a little bit prettier, don't put it on the fucking cup.
Well, I have seen and heard. All right, you in fact get a dish and say it needs another color
Yeah.
for no other purpose than the way it looks. Like it needs another color.
Yeah.
And we'll throw like cilantro or parsley, just add another color.
But the cilantro for sure adds flavor as well.
But
But
you didn't make the dish and say I need the taste of cilantro.
No.
You said I need another color.
Yes.
Shaved
And that's
carrot.
purely aesthetic.
right.
So you do it.
Yeah, but it's different when we're talking about a cup of something and like a plate of food.
No, I'm talking about a plate of food.
I know, and I'm saying that it's different when we're talking about a plate of food versus just a drink.
No, but what I'm saying is
You're talking about a plate of food, yes.
Yeah,
I'm saying
a
it's
plate
valid.
of food,
I'm
and
saying
you have said this needs another
Yes.
color, and we added something to the dish.
Yeah.
Purely just add the color.
we are on the same page
Okay.
right now. I'm saying it's valid when it applies to food and invalid when it applies to drink.
Oh, so you're saying a drink doesn't need another color?
No.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does.
Sometimes it does. To be honest with you, when we look at building drinks, like I think in the bars, it's not what it once was because we know that we still have to put
wasn't on
drinks
purpose.
together that will align to social media and create somebody to pull out their phone and take a picture because that's free advertising. Every time somebody comes into our locations, we create a little army that takes pictures for us and helps spread the word. It's like a Mary Kay campaign in some ways, you know what I mean? And when we look at making drinks, a lot of times you have to think like, yes, these ingredients will work well together, but it's not really taking the drink to the next level because there's not enough foam or it's not creating a layer of, different colors. Or how do we finish this to make it a little bit different and bring it to the next level? So like when you're thinking about making drinks, you need to think about what ingredients work within that drink, but also how you will achieve a slightly different look or presentation to the cocktail. And sometimes it's as easy as putting a little garnish to the top to finishing something that is a very solid plain color. Because when you spend $15 on a drink, you want to make sure that the presentation is there and warrants the cost. Same with the food, correct?
I guess my thing is, if you're going to put it on there, stand behind it, have like some conviction behind it, and don't be like, no, I'm just willing to take it off because I don't like it. Like, no, if it's there for a reason. Stand behind that reason. Don't be like, nah, fuck it, have it without. You know?
So we're gonna update this conversation in like 5 months time and do a check-in.
See what happens.
So how we doing with the alterations?
So it'll be 559 Main Street. The restaurant's called Townhouse. Come by and order your food the way we make it.
In September.
In September.
Got it. Just, you were just talking to us too about events and getting ready to think forward of big things and what we could do here to create a lot of fun.
Well, you guys are talking about thinking forward. I was reluctant to.
What do you mean? You brought
I
Pumpkin Fest.
I thought forward, but like I don't hate it.
It's July and you were talking about Pumpkin Fest.
Yeah.
You are thinking forward.
I skipped right over football.
So, I mean, listen, there's huge doors in this place. There's a lot that could be done. You've got outdoor area.
We're gonna use the PDR
sponsored by PBR Pumpkin.
for the pumpkin room.
Okay.
And we'll just have like the party in here the whole time. So for anybody that doesn't want to deal with pumpkin beers,
For anybody that's sensible and rational.
They can stay in the other area, and we won't bother you with pumpkins. But we'll turn this room into the Pumpkin Fest room.
You should get a poster for the window. The PDR is the Pumpkin Dining Room.
Pumpkin dining room. Pumpkins.
Were we going to install a projector in this room
Maybe.
to go right on this wall?
No, we're gonna paint this
That's
wall. It might go there. Whatever.
All right, yeah.
No,
Sorry.
talking about pumpkins.
I'm just thinking about moving pumpkins on the
Somebody
projector
just
screen.
In case you ever listen to this episode, not like live when Jay posts it, whenever he posts it.
If
If
he posts it.
it.
If we don't lose it.
If we don't lose it,
Gonna
make sure
lose
there's a card in there, whatever.
Gonna lose
But
this
if
one.
you do listen to it, it's July 15th, and yesterday somebody emailed me to pre-order like pumpkin beers, and this is kind of where this conversation sparked because it pissed me off so much. Like, it's middle of July, and you're like, "Yo, pre-order your pumpkins." It's like, "Oh, fuck you, man! I'm still trying to. I didn't even go on my summer vacation yet."
I think that pumpkin beers are on the way out. Not on the way out. They're not going anywhere. Just we hit the peak of pumpkin.
That was
like
a
5
180 on
years
this
ago.
sentence. What? You're like, I think they're on the way out. Actually, they're not going anywhere.
that is the perfect example of how Jay talks all the time.
I wanted to-
One sentence was a giant circle.
I wanted to refine my words because I realized sometimes in the way in which I think might not come across the way I actually meant it. So when I
what you got to do?
they're
is
on the
you
way
just-
out.
You just got to stop talking, formulate your thought, and then get it out. Don't
Yeah.
formulate
Maybe
as you speak.
Write it
Got
down.
it.
Both 2 sentences.
I'm working on it.
And then pick
You
one.
got a notebook
On the
right
way
in front
out,
of you.
when I said on the way out in my head, I was looking at like the bell curve and coming back down. Although it's not going to go flat to nothing. Like it's not going to go
Yeah.
flat to nothing.
I knew where you were on that. It
Thanks.
just sounds funny.
I appreciate that.
I knew what
guys.
you meant. You meant the buzz, the boom was over.
It's not
and
gonna
it
be
was
as popular as
it's
they once were.
plateauing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean,
I agree.
Listen, the pumpkin thing doesn't even matter. The idea is that
matter.
you're thinking about doing big events. That's the greater picture. And doing these big events, you need to make sure that you've got help. You need to make sure that we could do awesome things on TVs, maybe bring live music in, all of these different
Like we did that
parts of
Oktoberfest
the
party.
event.
Remember that?
So,
We
back
had
to
the people
that.
from Austria come.
I do remember that.
That's cool.
So
remember
back-
the Stein hoisting? That's
Yeah.
always a fun one.
in saying that like these big ideas can exist and you have this big space to do a lot of big things, it would make a lot of sense to be calling the beer companies and saying, "Hey, we're doing an event with your stuff.
Can't
Can
call
you-
them this week.
Can you help support things here?"
No, beer's open.
beer's open.
Only one liquor company is closed.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's the distributor. It's
Yeah.
not the actual beer
Yeah.
company.
Producer, my bad.
Like you need the actual beer company to come in and say, "Hey, you want to do this fun event with all of our beers that we have for pumpkin? Cool. Let's do this, and they'll have fun ideas, and they'll help you actually put this event together to the point where you don't really have to do that much anymore. They'll do all the hard work for you, and then you just show up. That's it.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Jay, speaking from the perspective of a sales rep or a party rep now, because he knows he does a good job at it, so he just thinks everybody else does a good job of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
That's not the case.
That's not necessarily it. Like, you know, for Fernet, for instance, we now have 7 parties that are going to go on, at least 7 parties that are going to start in mid-August.
yeah, but you're not doing all the work.
I'm doing all the work.
Yeah,
But
no, I mean,
again,
like,
you're
they gotta-
proving my point. Like, you're good at your job, so you're doing all this stuff and speaking like everybody else is going to do that
Yeah.
too.
There's another guy out there that works as a supplier for the beer company that
maybe he's
is-
not as good as you, Jay.
that has closets
All
full
I'm
of
saying
things
is
to
that
bring out.
the establishment can't just let the reps do whatever they want.
No, you
gotta-
need to supply employees, obviously,
right, right.
and
You
show
gotta do the
up.
work.
and,
You have to operate your
you know,
restaurant.
yeah, like Jim that works for the pumpkin company is not going to be at the front door checking IDs.
That's what I mean.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, I don't know if he's even, I don't know
He'll
if
be
he
at the
knows
front
what
door
the
handing
ID
out
looks
beers,
like.
though.
Or pouring drinks or collecting money.
Correct. So, listen, that all I'm saying is reach out to the people that you work with and see what they can do and help you. Like, they're there for that. That's like literally it. So throw a fun party. I want to be part of it. I might take video and then lose the memory card halfway down the road.
By the way, Jim, just so you know, Jay pulled that name out of the hat. He wasn't specifically talking about you.
Newms, take us out of here. I gotta go work.
Guys, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button because, you know, algorithms.